Hello.
Bonjour. We're not speaking in French.
Adorable. Hi. So a while ago we announced that we would do a live together, and we had to postpone it because we got busy with life, and the live is happening now. I am with Christian Kasper, my loving partner, and we decided to do a live about inner harmony and inner wisdom and self-knowledge and all of the topics that we love. And welcome everyone.
Welcome.
So there was no timing, so we didn't expect you to be available, but there will be a replay, so that's fine. And we collected questions also previously, so we will also answer to the questions, but if you are here live, you will be also available to ask questions. So why did we want to speak about this topic about inner harmony and self-knowledge and inner wisdom today? It's I think it was an idea of mine because Christian just finished 2 trainings which lasted a long time, and he's been training a lot those last years, especially one about compassionate inquiries with Gabor Mate, trauma-informed coaching basically, or therapy, and another one called IFS, internal family system. And I constantly see him learning something, and every day we share about it, and I thought it was super interesting to go share some stuff with you too. So my love, for the people who don't know you yet, can you please introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, my name is Christian. We're living here together with Anke in beautiful Costa Rica. I'm a trauma-informed coach, but I'm also a breathwork teacher and facilitator. I offer different services around coaching and breathwork that you can all find in my bio. And yes, Anke mentioned, I just recently finished 2 intensive trainings, one with Gabor Mate, Compassion Inquiry, the other one is Internal Family System. And we will talk a bit more about what they actually are, but then we will also come back to the topics that we actually want to discuss here, which is around peace, self-knowledge, inner wisdom, and much, much more. And you might hear from time to time some passing. That's why that's because we live here close to the highway. It's actually not so close anymore, but you can still hear them sometimes when the wind.
I don't know if we speak loud enough.
Yeah,
can you hear us?
Please give us a sign if you can't hear us.
I'm not so sure. How is the sound? Can you let us know if you can hear well when there is no big cars, obviously?
Then I will just continue for now, so that I can also check if my voice is loud enough. Okay.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Cha-cha. Super. Yeah, and then we also received some questions that we will also answer.
Yeah.
From both of our sides, so 2 different perspectives maybe.
Yeah. So when I met Christian, it was in Bali years ago, 2018, and you expressed the desire to become a breathwork facilitator, but you were also thinking about becoming a therapist in the sense of Jungian analyst therapist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this was one path. One optional path.
Yeah, one like very big dream, and it's very long studies, and it's not available in every cities of the world. You have to sometimes travel to do this training, and in the end, because also COVID happened, and it was not so easy to make choices, and this was a very long and expensive choice to become a Jungian analyst. You decided to go another way, and you choose breathwork, and then coaching, and then trauma-informed coaching, and then you choose IFS and different things, and it really shows that all the roads leads to Rome, and that you can actually acquire all the skills that you think you need with different training here and there, and you can make it on your own, like your own recipe, and your coaching is super effective with everything that you've learned. And maybe someday in the future you will also do the other one, the long one.
Could be.
Could be, yeah.
But I also think that somehow I had the idea in my mind, and I was caught up in this idea, and that didn't really leave space for other possibilities to rise for me. I was so focused, I thought this has to be the way, I have to become a Jungian analyst to do the work that I'm doing. But then slowly over the years I noticed like actually it can be way more effective if I combine different tools and especially also integrate the somatic experience in my services, which oftentimes is not happening in Jungian analyzers.
Yeah.
So I'm actually really glad that I took a different path and completely made sense. But still, there's still a big interest in this topic for me. But maybe just the interest is also not enough to do this kind of study, which is like almost 9 years long.
Yeah, let's see.
Let's see, who knows?
You're still young. I remember myself, I wanted also to be a therapist after having been therapized myself for many years in therapy and having loved it. I wanted to become a therapist too. And then when I learned EFT and when I learned coaching, then I fell in love with those modalities. And I realized that with who I am, in my 30s, late 30s now, the energy of shorter therapies fitted better with who I was, and also those very practical tools that I could also teach to my clients. It was really wonderful to go that way, and I do not exclude also to learn more, become a therapist, but let's see in the future.
Yeah, let's see. I think a really good example is Bobby Klein.
Yeah.
Because Bobby Klein is one of my inspirations. He passed away 2 years ago almost, now, and we were meeting one of his friends, so you could say it's a friend of him, in Mexico, and she was telling us how many different things he actually did. He was a photographer for The Doors and Jimi Hendrix, then he opened a restaurant with Nicolas Cage, I think, right? Then he did a study in Jungian analysis, and he went to Mexico, and so many different things that the man did. It was just a good example that you should always keep on going, be curious, evolve.
Yeah.
I think we're really not.
Sorry.
Robert De Niro, yeah, actually could be. I think Robert De Niro makes more sense. Nicolas Cage, yeah. I think it's a good example that you should not get stuck, and there's also natural unfolding of ourselves. And if you're like stuck in a corporate job that we do for 40 years, which is luckily not happening anymore in these times, but I think this feels really unnatural for me.
Yeah.
To be stuck in one way, because you are evolving, so also your surrounding has to evolve, so you can actually freely evolve.
And also not to be attached to a title, because I think this is mostly how we behaved in the past, being attached to titles.
Yeah.
Although we need to learn skills, and we need to practice a lot so that we get really skilled and really confident in what we have to offer to the world. But it's less of a title that we need, it's more of choosing the right skills that fit with who we are. And then we can have each of us a unique set of different skills that are complementary to each other, which is, I think, the most important than just seeking someone else's path because it looks good on paper.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Someone asked the question earlier in French, which was, have we ever thought about offering therapy for couples?
Oh, that's interesting. We never thought about it. And also, yeah, I mean...
Well, we did in the form of a program.
Yeah, we did it in the form of a program, exactly, yeah. And there could be more coming up in the form of programs, or maybe group, some kind of group containers.
Yeah, we don't do one-on-one coaching for this specific topic.
No.
So we have our program called Empowered Relationships, which is always available. I do help my clients one-on-one also with their love lives, because if you're stuck in your love life, then you cannot be fully in expansion in your professional life. So I coach in every area. What about you in your coaching? It's also the same. People come with...
Things come up. Yeah,
things come up. So we don't specifically offer coaching on that topic, but it's included in
it's
what
life.
we do.
You know, it's life, it's coming up. And it can lead to a blockage, and I see myself as a coach who's supporting people to go through blockages.
Yeah.
So I'm also supporting them there.
So what are the most exciting things that you've learned along the way? Because you've been, like, it was in his books and in his replay, watching all those coaching trainings. Every time I would come to him and I would say, what are you looking at? And it's like, it was not a random video on YouTube, or it was not a, sports or whatever. It was always, oh, I'm watching this therapy session. So watching something all the time. So what's the best things you've learned, like recently? What do you want to share?
What's the best thing that I learned recently?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the last few years, I think what got more and more important is the somatic experience, what's actually happening in our body, and also to see how effective it actually is to work from this place instead of just working on a mind level, just trying to understand, just trying to analyze. And this is all important things, no question. But what I notice is even more important for my clients, but also for me personally, to actually see what's happening in my body and work on this basis. And when we cleared the channels on the somatic level, we can actually also clear our mind and clear our mind from our beliefs that are not holding us back. I think this is one thing that I was most excited about, or that had the biggest impact on how I work and how I also work on myself. And the other one is presence. I think presence is, I don't want to say it's underrated, because we hear oftentimes presence falling, but yeah, it's really, really underrated, yeah, for sure. Presence in interactions with other people, especially with clients. I think if we are really present with ourselves, this will also reflect to the other person. The other person can stay with whatever is arising inside of them, and this will then actually create a release, so that they can actually move forward and bring them actually also really, really deep. Because I remember when I started coaching, I oftentimes wanted to see results. I was too focused on results instead of focusing on the present moment with my clients. And as soon as I learned that, and that was a big part of compassionate inquiry trainings that I did, things started to shift.
Did you know that the first classes of Coach from the Heart are about presence?
Oh, it's perfect, yeah.
It's in French, so he doesn't know.
I didn't know.
But yeah, it's all about the presence, because I agree with you. When you're fully present, and then you can offer a space of presence, like fully available for the person to feel what it feels to be in presence with their own emotions and everything that they're processing, then they can finally see something about themselves instead of being busy about it.
Yeah, presence is a really, really important quality to embrace more and more. And I mean, there are different levels, right? I don't say that I'm completely mastering it. There are for sure mastery levels that you can achieve after doing more training on that. And I also think the reason why many people have some kind of trauma or some kind of beliefs comes from a place of disconnection, of not being able to sit with certain emotions, with certain pain they maybe experienced in the past. And if you as a coach or as a therapist can't be present, this will reflect back to them, and they will not feel safe anymore to explore actually their own pain.
Yeah. Can you talk about Gabor Mate, because maybe not everyone knows him yet?
Gabor Mate is a physician. He was working in different fields. He was working in the field of addictions. He was working in the field of what do you call it when people go into the hospital? Not hospital, hospice, but
geriatric?
No, different. I'm not sure about the name anymore. I have it in German in my mind. He was working in
German.
palliative care.
Palliative care.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He was working there as a physician. He was writing many different books on ADHD, on addiction, on trauma, and he was hosting many events in the States of Canada, or actually all around the world, and he oftentimes got people up to the stage with him, and they had a conversation, or they were coming up with a challenge, and they wanted to get the opinion of Gabor, to work with Gabor on that challenge. And a friend of him asked him afterwards if he can teach what he was doing on stage to other people, because it was really, really effective to solve their challenges or to help them solve their own challenges. But Gabor Mate didn't think it was possible because he didn't know what he was doing there. But she had an idea what he was doing there, so they said together, and we're breaking everything down into qualities, into stepping stones, to make it something they can actually teach to other people. And this is where compassion inquiry was created.
Yeah, it's a beautiful training.
Yeah, it's a great training. It's also really intense. It's 1 year training, and every week you have a session with someone else out of your class. So a session where you are the client and and you are the therapist. So it's always a role play. You always switch the roles every week. So actually every week you have a session where you are the therapist and where the other person is the client, and vice versa.
Do you need to already be trained in something to do compassionate
No,
inquiry?
we don't.
You can. Everybody can.
Yeah, everyone can do it. If you want to do the next levels, which is, for example, the mentorship program, and to become like a real compassion inquiry facilitator, you need some trainings. But I think the coaching IFC is called ICF.
ICF?
ICF is also part of it. So also people with ICF certification can do this training.
And why did you choose to add IFS?
IFS was something that was oftentimes coming up in compassionate inquiry. IFS stands for Internal Family System. It was created by Richard Schwartz, and what IFS is basically doing, it's promoting self-leadership, and by self I mean self with a capital S, to acknowledge that there's a self inside of you, that we can step into the self, embody the self, and coordinate and lead the different parts that all live within us. I mean, it's just not one mind. There are multiple minds inside of us, having different opinions, having different needs, different fears, and oftentimes there's a conflict. Right? The conflict is always coming up because there are different parts inside of us in a conflict, and IFS promotes to be in the self, capital S, and to lead from this place, like you would lead a team or lead a tribe of people. Yeah. So you take a look, okay, what is the fear of this one part, what's the need of the other part, and you try to find a resolution for this conflict inside.
Like the other day you did with me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm very blessed because I am in the first line to do all the exercises with him when I need it. So I'm usually not like a guinea pig where he trains on me, because he has many guinea pigs available. But when something's show up in my life, then I get the chance to be helped. And this is just beautiful. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you for letting me practice. Yeah.
So your first love was more breath work, like it was more body work. And
that's nice to put, yeah.
In a way. Yeah. And then you even decided to teach breath work. And so it's going to be the second time that you teach breath work starting next week. So there is a new kickstart starting next week for his training with his two co-creators. It's called Spirit of Breath Collective. And did you implement new stuff that you learned in your recent trainings? Like, did you add a little bit more of awareness of different things into this second year of breathwork facilitation?
Yeah. So in the first one, it already had many aspects of things that I was studying.
Because you were already
trauma. So it's a trauma-informed training. There are different classes on this topic, but there are also different classes on the nervous system, because the nervous system is a really important part in life generally, but also in breathwork, and to understand what breathwork is actually doing. And what we now integrate in this training is also group coaching, which came because we noticed that there was oftentimes the need to explore certain things for the individual in this training, because a lot of things are coming up in this training, because we are breathing on a weekly basis, and at the same time we also stretch our comfort zone by stepping out and giving breathwork sessions to other people, and learning all the new skills. So things come up, and therefore we thought, okay, it makes sense if we also include group coaching in there. And I'm super excited about this group coaching.
Yeah.
Will be amazing. And we are so far as I know, we are the only training who are offering group coachings inside.
That's cool.
Inside of Australia, as far as I know.
Well, it's very important. This is in English.
Yeah, in English. Yeah.
And where are the people from? Are they English and German?
We have an international group. We have a few people from Germany, but we also have, I think, 1 or 2 people from France, 1 from Spain, 1 from, I'm not sure if she's from the States. I think so, yeah.
And until when does the training run?
It runs for a half year in total. It goes until next year in March, end of March. And then there are 6 weeks or 5 weeks in between, and then we meet all in a retreat in person, where we actually learn a few more things that you can only teach in person, but also to get to know each other and to sharpen our skills in this container. It's always like a really, really nice event.
Where will it be?
Close to Berlin, most likely.
Germany.
Yeah, Germany, close to Berlin.
We can answer the questions. Can you open them? Thank you. So we have received a few questions the other day, so we'll answer them. And if you have any other questions, you can just ask them now. The first question we got was, have you ever tried transgenerational therapy?
Not me.
I have. So I've been in normal therapy for 5 years, and then I hit a wall. Everything was basically quite okay, and my therapist said, okay, we're done. So I left, and then I was not done, obviously. I knew there was more to life than that. And so life showed me the way by making me meet Amélie Malm, which I already talked many times in France, and I already recorded a podcast with her, Amélie. After this live, I can also put it in a story if you want to look it up. And Amélie helped me for a year and a half, and I went there, I don't know, maybe every 3 weeks. And now she works differently. It's in person, and she works on the vibration of the blueprint of your family, like what's been ingrained in your cells, so that you can just release it and be your own being, as free as you can. And I recently started again this work with Amélie because my mother passed away this year by committing suicide, and there is suicide in my family, and so I just choose to go back to it because this is important to me. So this is my story with transgenerational therapy.
Actually, I also had I just remember that I had 2 sessions with my therapist on transgenerational topics. But I was more thinking about family constellation, which I haven't experienced yet. Yeah.
So there is a question, Marine, coucou Marine, where Christian did the IFS training.
Yeah, you can check out IFS Circle. It's called IFS Circle, and it is by the IFS Institute, I think.
Americans?
Yeah, Americans, yeah. I think it's by the IFS Institute. You can check it out, IF Circles or Circle, and you will find it. But you can also give me a message and I can send you the link.
Thank you.
Next question.
Yeah.
How to find your own path? There are too many options. It is overwhelming. So I think it's only overwhelming when we're in our mind.
Yeah.
Nobody oftentimes already knows if it's a yes, if it's a no, or if it's maybe waiting.
Yeah.
It's also oftentimes the case. So I think the overwhelm is oftentimes coming up when we overthink things. And my advice would be here to let go of this question and to find more space for yourself. And maybe at some point you can plant in this question then again and just see what's coming up for you first. I remember, I really like this example. It's maybe not always the best comparison to a more difficult decision, for example, career path, but it's a good example of how the body is oftentimes reacting or giving us an answer. When we were in Berlin, and one morning I didn't know if I want to go into the forest or not, and I came to you. I was annoying you with my conflict of not knowing what to do. This
He
is
was
the most
asking
difficult
me
question
if
in
he
life.
should go to the forest for a walk in the middle of winter. And I'm like, how would I know for you if you
Yeah.
should go to the
And then
forest?
she just asked me, okay, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and then I asked myself all these questions, and the answer was clear: go to the forest.
Yeah.
It was just my lazy mind who said, no, I want to
I don't
stay in the
know.
comfort of home.
Maybe I stay with her.
And yeah. So oftentimes it's so simple. Oftentimes the answer is already so clearly in our body, or on a deeper level, however you want to see it, like
Yeah.
a conscious level, that we just have to give it some space, and then it's arising. But this also oftentimes includes for many people to, first of all, to create this sensitivity to feel the things that are happening in your body. And
Yeah.
for me, one practice that was helping me here a lot was breathwork. I think there's no other practice that was creating so much more sensitivity for this yes or no that is coming from the body as breathwork did.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think when we ask ourselves these questions about what's my own path, we need to let go of having the full vision, because we can never have the full, the end of the road. We will have the end of the road at the end of the road. So now we can only see the next piece of the path. So just allowing this to be just seen, you can see the next steps of the path, and you can just release, not knowing about the remaining of the path, and
that's a
it
good
will
one.
unfold step by step anyway. So.
Yeah, that's a really good one, I think. Yeah, really, really good. Because I think oftentimes we always say, oh, can connect to your vision, see if it makes sense. And I think the vision is really, really important. It's like the fuel to take actions and everything. But it's not always the best thing to do to see what the next step is. The next step is oftentimes just unfolding how you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't make at this moment sense for you, or if I do this next step, does it really lead me to my vision?
Patient.
Patient.
Okay, next question. Can we succeed in life with a partner that is doing nothing of his days and being irrealistic?
That's an interesting question, and a bit judgmentally realistic.
You want to do a compassionate inquiry on that question?
This would be a good opportunity to do that, yeah. No, but that's not possible right now. But what's your answer? What's coming up?
Well, I feel that there is a few things. I think we can succeed in life in any circumstances. It depends on our ability to be affected by our surrounding. So you can have someone which is really low vibe and thinking that nothing is possible and doing nothing with his life and everything, and just love him for who he is, and you yourself not being affected by this energy, and then just going for it and living your life and fulfilling your path and blossoming. I think it's totally possible. But in order to do that, you need to be willing to separate things. Like, okay, this is my relationship and this is how he is, and I accept him just how he is, and I love him just how he is, and he will go as far as he wants with his own life. Yeah. And I will just take care of myself. And I'm busy enough with myself because I want to blossom and I want to be happy. So that's one part of the answer. Another part of the answer is, how much do you want to separate things? Because I do not like to separate things too much, and I do love to have an amazing partner which is passionate about the same kind of things that I am, which means growth and, you know, having a great life and questioning our thoughts and being curious about who we can be if we remove the blockages. So this would be missing to my life if I would not have been clear that it was what I wanted and then went for it. That's my answer.
Yeah, I think there's something around boundaries. For me, the question is if the partner is not aligned or not working on himself, is if he can respect that you are doing the work on yourself.
And support.
And support, yeah. And support it, yeah, exactly. And if this is the case, then I think it's a good chance to authentically influence another person. And I'm not saying like influencing it by pushing them, your opinion on them, but more of just being a good example of the work that you're doing, and being gentle in the way you are expressing where you're heading and what you're working on and so on. Because I think this is oftentimes something that at some point the people will look up to and see like, oh, okay, now she did 1 year of this work, and see how much she transformed her, how much better she is. So I think this can be a great opportunity of being a good example. So nice.
I would add also that often we are frustrated by the people around us who are not moving fast enough or moving at all, because this is a reflection of where we're not moving ourselves.
Yeah.
So we kind of put the attention outside, is not moving, instead of asking ourselves what is not moving within myself that I'm ready to change, instead of focusing outside of myself.
Yeah, and this would go where we would normally go, for example, in compassion inquiry, is such a question to see, okay, what is actually reflected inside of you? What are the feelings that you have connected to this situation, things that your partner is not moving or is irrealistic? What is coming up for you? And if it's really triggering you, then there's actually also something that you should work on. That doesn't mean that you should accept everything that's happening in the relationship or anything, but it should be to take a look what is yours and what is actually his.
Yeah.
Next question?
Yes.
Okay. What are your practice on a daily basis and more punctual to support inner harmony?
Okay, what do you use to support inner harmony? Want to start?
Yeah, I think I try to, in the morning I focus on creating harmony in my nervous system, and this always looks different. I'm not a fan of having a cookie cutter routine where you have just one way of doing things. I think every day looks different, every day we feel differently, and we should acknowledge what's actually happening inside of us. Some mornings I might feel more tired, so maybe I don't have a heavy workout, or maybe I don't have a tea if I feel, for example, or if I don't have a coffee when I feel a bit cold. It really depends on how I feel on a day-to-day basis. What practices that I have in my morning routine on a frequent basis is sunlight, movement, fresh air, grounding, so being bare feet on the ground, and no distraction. For me, this is the worst thing that I can put in my morning. If I have, for example, by distractions, I mean, for example, social media, or opening my emails, or opening my WhatsApp, and I already have the flood of information coming to me, questions and requests and so on. This is not really serving me to create a more harmonious
You're very
day
good
to day.
at setting boundaries with that.
Yeah, so this is something that's really, really important to me and has a great effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's so much more. I mean, breathwork is also one practice that you can do and you could do it on a day-to-day basis, but oftentimes it's not necessarily needed that you do it on a day-to-day basis, but sometimes this reset is really helpful, and breathwork is helping you to get this reset and to calm your system down and then start fresh again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To that, I would add solitude. I think it's important to spend time alone, so I like to go to the beach by myself, just like he's going to the beach by himself in the morning, and then I slowly get up, spend time by myself in bed, and I connect with what I want to create with this day, my intention, and then I go later to the beach. And yeah, solitude is very important, and not being too busy surrounded by other people. I have massages every week, so I have someone coming at home and have massages, and this is very soothing for me, this healing touch. And I would also add cuddles.
Yeah,
Inner
for sure.
harmony
Yeah.
is very much supported by cuddles. And having, this is co-regulation.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
co-regulation,
Yeah. Don't know what I would
There are
add.
probably so many more things. I think also nutrition, what you eat, is
Yeah.
really affecting the harmony
Yeah.
and how you feel. This is for sure also something that we both explore for each other.
Yeah.
And I'm really amazed how you always handle it, how disciplined you can be to listen to your body. And sometimes for me it's more difficult to then, I can listen to my body and know the answer, like I should actually not have this sugar treat now, but still I would maybe grab for the sugar treat. And actually you're really, really good
I'm
at
better
setting
with
the
sugar.
boundaries, yeah.
Yeah. I think naturopathy has helped me a lot. Becoming a naturopath, it had me learned about what was fitting to my body and what was not. And when you love yourself and when you learn about what works and what does not work, it's harder to impose on yourself something that's gonna hurt you later. So it supports inner harmony too. And even before nutrition, I would say sleep. Like if you wanna maintain a harmonious life, you have to have enough rest. And this is super important. Going to bed early enough, having really restful nights, and for me, not waking up with an alarm clock supports my inner harmony. So just waking up when I'm ready and getting up when I'm ready. But for you, it's different. It's waking up early with an alarm clock sometimes, and getting up and like go for it. And we have different rhythms.
Yeah, totally. I think I also need an alarm clock because it's normally dark. I have my sleeping mask on, but actually in this place I could actually do it without an alarm clock because it gets really, really light here. In the other apartment it was not the case.
Let's see how it goes.
See, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you have any other questions here. If you do, eventually, if you're watching the replay, you can also put questions below the video.
And tag both of us in it, so we both of us can answer in case you want to have the answer from both of us.
Would you like to add something?
So if you're interested in any of the tools that I just mentioned, but also in the trainings that I did to explore them, to explore the technique that I'm also teaching inside of Breathwork, then feel free to reach out to me. There's also something that I will offer really, really soon, and this will be, I guess this will be the only time that I will offer this one. I will offer free sessions with people who are my newsletter list, to a limited amount of people who are my newsletter list. So if you want to have a session, then I would advise you to subscribe to this newsletter list. You can find it in my bio. I am Christian Kasper, and we'll also link myself inside of this recording.
Cool. So this is one session per person?
Yeah, one session per person, yeah. Not for, obviously not for everyone, only for a limited amount of people. First come, first come, first serve.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And what about your coaching packages, like what you've been offering to your clients? Who are you serving?
Right now, many people who try to find their way out of corporate world. This is my signature program around. My signature program is around creating your vision and finding a strategy to get there, and then also taking bold steps towards it, where also a lot of emotional things will come up that we will work on. This is my signature program right now, but I'm also creating a new program, and there's actually not much to announce yet. I still have to find the right angle, the right focus. Still working on that one. But I'm also offering this breathwork training that is starting next week on Wednesday. I mean, whenever you're watching this recording, it might be this week on the 5th of October. We're starting our 6 months transformational breathwork facilitator journey, and
so cool.
It's just amazing how much can happen in the 6 months.
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
Incredible. Yeah. I'm really looking forward. It excites me a lot to do this training. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom and presence. This is just a joy to live with him because he has a groundedness and quality of presence which is very soothing, and I love it.
I love it too.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me here.
You're
It's
welcome.
great.
Anytime.
And thank you everyone for being here as well, listening, watching us. If you have any more questions, just put them under the video.
Yeah, and let us know if there is other topics that you would like us to cover together,
Oh, yeah.
because we could also do regularly lives together when it's easy.
Alrighty.
Okay, have a beautiful evening and see you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.